Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. I hope that you have rested over the last week since I've seen you and that you are ready to begin to go through some information with me tonight. I apologize for my 1 minute tardiness, but I am grateful as always that you come and share time with me. My name is Tamara Gibson. I'm the CEO and owner of TT Innovative Solutions. And tonight, we're going to talk about all things study station. Study station. And hopefully, I won't get more tongue tied as we go through. It is always my desire um, as the leader here of TT Innovative Solution to bring you content that you really need as you prepare for your Texas exam. So, as our title says, we're going to provide you with some tools tonight that will help you as you study for your competencies and you study your Texas exams. And I'll talk more about competencies because I think that a lot of times people go out and buy the study guides and they're not going from the best, what I call the blueprint. And that was what we talked about last week. So I always want to reference what we've done before. Our agenda tonight, we're going to focus on why our space matters. We're going to talk about some tools for our study station. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about your learning style and the way that you learn, and then study flow of our station that we're going to set up and talk intensely about. And then things that you need to look out for. So some common mistakes, common errors that I see people making that maybe can help you is definitely what I want to talk about tonight. I started out this week sharing in many of my posts that your space really does matter. It can attribute to the success of what you're trying to do. It can also contribute to the failure of what you're going to do. And I have seen quite a bit in my time helping with others with studying. And so I thought that this would be a great conversation tonight regarding the way you set things up and the way it will help you to focus. So first of all, a clear space definitely equates to a clear mind. It helps us to focus. It helps you to stay motivated. It's directly connected to, most of the time, it's directly connected to your environment, the environment you set up. And as we prepare for this summer, there's all kind of distractions that can go on for the summertime. There's, in my opinion, way more that can happen during the school year, but definitely in the summer as well. But you can set yourself up to be more focused by making certain that you are following the blueprint, the study guide, and making sure that your space is clear of clutter, clear of things that really you don't need. I'm not particularly into feng shui as style, but I do believe that it needs to be leveled desks, leveled sitting area for you to be able to get the most out of your session. I do believe that that is true. And what I will say is that oftentimes, when I'll probably wait to say more about this, so I'll stop myself because I'll get into all of the errors and we'll talk about that later. Clean space, sitting space. How we sit does directly affect our brain. Okay, so sit in a postured state. I know that some people might be studying laying down. Some might be studying maybe in a leaning back chair. Your posture does have a lot to do with whether or not you're going to be getting in the information in the manner you want it to be. So, as I just did, sitting up straight, making sure that you're prepared and that you've got a nice, clean atmosphere is perfect. You can't achieve that in your location or in your home. I suggest to many of my clients to go out and find a space that can eliminate some of those distractions. All right, so we are really talking mainly about your space and trying to set a space up. I do have a space where I study and create. It's a small space, but again, I try to keep it clear of distraction, clear of clutter, so that I can really focus. Some of the tools that I'm going to talk to you about today just really will help you to, and I'm sorry for my ums tonight, but I want to be very poignant, so I'll just pause until I get the words that I want to say. Blueprint binder. Last week, we discussed the blueprint binder. Talked about going to find your particular Texas exam and finding the competencies and printing them out. For you to be able to color code them by domain, if you are a highlighting person, being able to highlight, underline key information, vocabulary and terminology that maybe you're not familiar with. That's what I'm talking with the blueprint. And then to continue to go on to talk about some of the brain tools. Brain tools I like to mention are things like flashcards. I'll talk to you more about the technology tools later, but I must mention one within this brain tool, and that's Quizlet is a great flashcard digital option. But if you are a person that learns well with flashcards, giving yourself one side where you write the word and the next side where you put a definition or a description, that's a good way to have someone else quizzing you when it gets to that point. If you are a person that likes to write things down, that notebook or a dry erase board with a marker to model out certain things, it's also helpful. I like to use it when I'm going through math on science, where I can draw things out. So these are just a few of my tools that I like. In one of my earlier sessions, I talked to you about using a timer and the Pomodoro method, that being the 25-minute method. But I'm going to talk to you about another one later in our tools. Number 3, I think is very important. It's something that oftentimes we skip over or eliminate or don't know to insert. And that is a goal tracker. Tracking your goal. I often have suggested to my clients to have a calendar, blank calendar that they can write down on what they've studied, especially if you're taking a test like EC 391. I can put down what time I put in or what subject I put in regards to this calendar. And I can put down that I did an AM study session for math, I did a PM study session for science, and therefore I can keep track, visual track of my goal. Also, in terms of a calendar and goal tracker, I'm going to say to put down on the calendar the date that you are going to take your exam. That also gives you a visual goal to get to and to, kind of make certain that you have. If you're a pre-planner, use your calendar to put down each day what you're going to do. And as you do it, cross that off. That also gives you a visual way to do it. Then we've got some downloadable trackers that and apps that are available, and I'll probably list a few in our show notes. I don't want to spend as much time on that, but I do want to give you some ideas about how to track your goal. My goal at the beginning of the year was to be more available to you. This is the best method for me to do, is to record my sessions and then utilize a tool. I chose the tool of YouTube. That was my goal. In order to get me there, I started writing down what I was going to do, when I would start, how long, what length of time it would be. That was me setting up my goal to be more strategic in what I'm doing. So I suggest you do the same. And where was I when I did that? You guessed it, my study station, my clean area that has just what I need in it: pencil, paper, note cards, sticky tabs, highlighters, maybe scissors, um, dry erase board, if you will. That kind of space is of which I'm talking to you about tonight. And that is my space that I often utilize. Lighting and energy. Natural light is really good. We know that there are some of us that the fluorescent lighting kind of bothers us and harsh light does. So set up your space to have the kind of light that will keep you motivated, keep you in the mood of studying, and making certain that you have enough lighting to bring you into a study mode. Maybe it's a desk light, maybe it's a floor light. Maybe it's the kind that you can turn the settings down. All of those are great. And then put near you maybe some like snacks or refreshments, just kind of keeping your energy going as you go. You don't want to stop as much and leave your area and then have to come back, because it breaks your study habits. And as I said before, you can use the method that I talked to you about some weeks ago, which is the Pomodoro method with the 25 minutes, take a break, and come back and do 25 more minutes, doing a total round of 4 rounds. You can use that method, but I'm also going to talk about another method as we go along. Then the digital tools. There's so many suggestions for digital tools. We here at TT Innovate Solutions have a Google Classroom. If you're interested in that, I'll also put them in the show notes. A place for you to go to look at the notes, to see the suggestions that we have. And the best way to keep in contact with us with that is making certain that you go to our website, which I'll mention again at the end, ttinnovate.com, and signing up for our mailing list so that you don't miss anything. Another great digital tool is using Google Docs. If you're a Microsoft person, you can definitely use Microsoft Word. I like to use items that will help me to stay collaborative. So if you're using either of those, there are ways for you to collaborate with others. So these digital tools are to help you to keep your notes organized. Again, we offer session notes that we have available where you are not guessing at what you should be learning, that you are strategically utilizing information that you do need. And our session notes can be found at our website. I won't get into too much more of that, but I do want you to know that there are lots of digital tools that are available to you to help you in order to focus your study. If you have specific questions about what tool might help you, please put your question in the comments and we'll be happy to give you some suggestions on that. And then my favorite, Your motivation and your motivation during your station time. Light music if you like it. Study music. It is researched that classical music, instrumental classical music, helps you in many ways. And so, whatever your style is, having it there to keep you motivated. Create yourself a playlist, if you will. And then maybe keep that playlist time to the time that you want to stop. And then you'll know when to take that break that I'm talking about. And again, all of these tools, these ideas that I presented to you, they're not anything new, but they are something to use as a checklist to help you to stay motivated, to make sure that you're setting up yourself up for success and weeding out things that will cause you to be distracted and take away from your time. And with that said, I kind of wanted to jump into something that has been on my heart. So before I move on, I really want to pause and speak to you directly. And in speaking to directly, I just want to say that I know that many of you are feeling the weight of something deeper than a study schedule. You're looking at your school year calendar and you're thinking, it's June. July is right around the door. And I didn't pass this test. I haven't passed this test. I want to go back to my classroom and I want to be able to go the place where I felt that I belong. I've heard this many times over the summer and in my endeavors as I've helped many educators to get certified. The idea that you haven't passed kind of helps to, lose momentum. And sometimes losing momentum really throws us off course. And I just want to remind you of your awesomeness. Okay. I want to remind you of your purpose and what you are seeking to do. You have on purpose decided that you're going to come over. Many of my audience is alternative certification teachers. You made a choice after either being a paraprofessional or being in the school system as a substitute or what have you, to come into a classroom. You would put time in and you made that decision. And so that is really why I'm here, to make certain that you don't lose the momentum, that you understand and identify with your purpose, and that you know that we are here for you. But I also want to talk to you about discipline versus desperation, because that's the energy I've seen lately. You are not too late. You are not behind. You have to continue to build the kind of resilience that you want for your future students. And you have to do that day by day. So I implore you that instead of chasing a deadline, let's build a rhythm together. Instead of fearing the door will close, remember that you're building your own door. That once you pass this exam, you will never have to worry about this again. You would have cemented your ultimate goal and can move on with your life and the choices that you make as an educator, or even go even further than what you thought. The study stations that I'm talking about, these tools, they're great, but they're not a etched in stone kind of thing. They're a great way for you to prepare without panicking. And again, I can't wait to help you walk back into that classroom if you had to pack up and leave. I want you to be successful. I want you to walk into your place, your home, your study station area, And I want you to grow stronger each day that you enter to prepare and get ready. So I hope really that, as I said before, not to operate in desperation. Desperation breeds so many different things, and it's not always success. Preparation does its part. And it's not perfect preparation, but preparing properly does. So, how can I customize this for myself? I have my station set up, I've got everything looking great. How can I do it? So, say that I'm going to ask you a question. Do you know what learning style you prefer? Have you thought about that? Are you setting up your studying time with that in mind? So, are you visual learner? Do you prefer that? Because many of us are multi. You know, we can learn in vary, but there's one we lean on heavier than others. I'm more visual. Are you auditory? Do you have to hear it first, then see it for it to cement? And lastly, are you a kinesthetic learner? Can I learn better doing a walk and listening to the material? Have you explored those particular options? So visual, charts, sticky tabs, color coding, watching of videos, that's going to help you. Audio, listening, so you could actually record some of the information that you are learning. Pick up your phone, use one of your voice apps, start reading some of the information so that as you are riding in your car or you're walking around in the stores, you can have your headphones in and you can be listening to some of the information. And then kinesthetically, do you need manipulatives? Do you need things to touch and to move around? Do you have to stand up, move around, and do those kinds of things in order for it to, become more relevant and more real? You need to know what kind of learner you are. And I will place in the show notes tomorrow a link to help you to answer a few questions that will help you to understand which one you actually prefer. So let's build your daily study flow. And this is a routine that I use with many of my clients. And the first thing is to actually have a warm up. So some quick quiz, maybe a question you start out with, some kind of flash review. And mine is usually a review. So I'll go back and I'll talk very quickly through the notes that I've compiled for them about what we talked about last time so I can bring connection to that. So warm up, then a focus block, a deep dive into a competency. When you look at those study guides, they give you step by step what you have to learn. And one spotlight thing I want to say tonight is oftentimes they put things in parentheses. I call it the cheat code because it helps you to know exactly what terms and terminology you have to use. Then active practice. So solve up cue questions. When you've done a little bit of practice with a competency, solve some of the questions that go along with it. Again, if you don't have questions, you don't know where to find any, send us an email at info@ttinnovate.com, or again, join our mailing list and we can shoot out some things for you in order to help you. Quick break, restroom, refreshments, little stretch, about 5 minutes or so. And then go back to reflect and review what you've learned so far and whether or not you need to ask or seek a little bit more support about the material. In the space of this time, that's about 90 minutes. And that's the suggestion that I give most of my clients. Spend the time on the things that you need for about 90 minutes to not break your stride. Take a break, and you can be done for the day, or you can go into another 90-minute session. Now, statistically, there are a few things that I know to be true about studying. And again, I'll put that link for you to be able to read the short article about what you need to do as study in regards to time. Okay. But again, I want you to set up this clear, clean area with a 90-minute block in mind. Looking to do a warm up first, go into maybe a little practice with the questions, have a really super intensive focus block on a competency, and then quizzing yourself on that competency, a quick break, and then review again. As always, I'm grateful for you being able to spend time with me tonight. We can be found at ttinnovate.com and on our platform at TT Innovates, TTINNOVATES, on all platforms. We are most active on Instagram and Facebook, and we'd love it if you joined our Facebook group to get some more up-to-date things. And I often drop free things that I do not put on my website for that private group. But in my closing, I want to say there's a few common mistakes that we make that we need to fix. Your study station should not be, again, this is my suggestion, and it's statistically, it has been studied, and there is some proof there. Studying in your bed. Try to make your bed a no-study zone. Sitting up at a desk, a chair, of some kind. Okay, you're going to consume more, you're going to do better with the content. Then for those of you that I don't know where to start, you need to do a pre-test of some kind, so you're not spending time trying to study everything, but only the things that you have gaps in. And for those that feel overwhelmed, start small. Starting with the Pomodoro method of just 25 minutes to 30 minutes is better than 0 minutes every day. And if I'm putting down on my calendar to keep my goal tracker and I'm putting 30 minutes every day, that's going to be better than 0 minutes. And another even better practice is getting in an hour a day. That being 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes in the PM. And right now, I'm talking to you as if it's not summer break. This is a schedule that I have people try to keep during the school year. You have the time, go ahead and do that 90-minute block that I'm talking about, that I'll give more in-depth description in the show notes for later this week. I know that every minute that you study, you are building the competence and the understanding that you need in order to pass these exams. Yes, there are test-taking strategies that we'll talk about in the coming time. Yes, there is information that you might need to have to fill you in. But I said this before, and I'll say it again. You are fully capable of passing your exam with proper preparation. I would love it if you would like and subscribe to our videos, if you would make comments that would help in letting me know that you are understanding the material and that it's helpful. We are going to continue on from the comments that have been made about this YouTube station. We want to make sure that we are giving you the support you need and hoping that you will do very well on your next administration. What's very well? A 240 or better. You, scoring a 240 out of 300 is 80%. It means I don't have to know everything, but I have to know enough to be able to say that I am, if you're taking the 391, a generalist from East early kindergarten all the way up to sixth grade. If you're taking the PPR, kindergarten all the way to 12, and these are all ones that we specialize in. And if you're taking the special ed exam, 161, from kindergarten all the way up to 12, if you have not gotten that information about the changes getting ready to be made to the special ed exam, please look back on our website to get that information. It's going to be very different. It's going to be a tad bit more difficult, and you're going to have to wait for them to answer your paragraph submissions. All right, everyone. I won't hold you anymore. I've gone a little bit over my time, but I was a few minutes late. You have a wonderful week. I wish you a happy study station area. And as I said again, I want to end with it. You can do this. Good night.